So you've launched your business and you've been cruising along, but those sales are just not coming in. And you don't understand why. You've got a great product. If people just knew what it was, they would buy, but they're not. Why? It can be so frustrating. But the solution is actually much easier than you might think. And that's what we're going to be discussing here on today's episode. Before we dig in, go ahead and hit that subscribe button, hit the like button if you enjoyed today's content, and let's go ahead and dig into it. I'm Steve Reed, and this is Brand or Die. So we've laid out the problem a little bit. It's really frustrating when you've worked so hard to build a business and you've put together a really great product or service and you just feel like it's not resonating with any audience at all. And there could be many, many reasons for this, right? And over the years, I've dealt with hundreds of startups and people that are looking to do just that. You know, they want to sell their new product or service. They put their offer together and it just kind of seems to fall on deaf ears. And for a long, long time, I didn't really know what to do to help them out. I just think, well, maybe they're not good at running a business. Maybe there's all these other factors. I don't know. But slowly and slowly over time, I began to discover some things and notice some things, and I've actually pivoted my entire business around helping to solve that specific problem with businesses. And so I'm going to show you a little illustration of where I think things can go wrong right from the start. And a lot of times the symptoms are not present at the beginning. They appear over time. But I'm going to go ahead and sketch this out for you. So let's switch over to the drawing board. So you get started with your business. You've put everything together. You're very proud of it. And then you identify a customer that you go after. So that's typically, B2C. If it's another business you're going after, that's a horrible B right there. B2B, right? So we're going to go back just for the sake of argument. We're just going to talk B2C here, business customer, whether that's an individual person out there or it's another business. This is our basic structure, right? And so a lot of times what I see happen is as soon as the business gets up and running and they want to connect with that customer, what's the very first thing everyone says? Well, I need a logo. And so they'll typically go to a logo designer and they'll say, hey, this is the kind of logo I want. I want to look kind of cool. I want it to look like this or this or this. And just a lot of times very arbitrary instructions to the designer. And the designer goes, okay, you want that? I'm going to give you that. And then they do it. And then the business runs off to a web designer, says, oh, I need a website. Now that I've got this logo, I need a cool website. So make me one. So the website designer, he makes something. And then next, maybe reach out to a graphic designer and say, hey, I need some business cards. I need some other stuff. Look, I already got a website design, make it look like that. And so each person's kind of borrowing from the next. And then now you've got all these assets created. Then you go to a social media person or you're trying to do your own social media and you're putting stuff out there. And then you try to put some ads out there and everything looks good. You're doing all the things, right? You're doing all the things that everyone else seems to be doing. And the general idea is that your customer here, their eyes are going to get wide. They're going to be super amazed and they're just going to buy from you, and this stuff costs a lot of money, right? Each time you go down this little ladder here, you're spending money. But here's the problem that I see, and it's very unfortunate. Sometimes the logo just doesn't connect with that audience. It shoots right past them, right? Same thing with a website. I've seen websites that are put together that are so bland and generic, and the business owner will say, oh, I love my website so much. It's beautiful. It's amazing. Maybe the web designer just got a theme or something and threw something together, threw some text down on the page. What do you want it to say? Oh, I don't know. Just put some text on there. Okay. So a website gets designed, but it's not engaging the customer, right? Same with the graphic design. The graphic design's following and it's out here in left field too, missing the mark. Social media, I've seen people post some pretty crusty stuff that just totally misses it. Then maybe they get political and whatnot, and then it goes way off the rails. I have seen advertising go completely in the opposite direction. One of my clients I knew from previous conversations exactly who they were wanting as an ideal customer because we went through that process of having that conversation, because he was just going after everybody. And when he asked me to take a look at his ads, he's like, man, my ads really aren't performing well. What, could you just take a look at them and see what's going on? Well, he was advertising to 60-year-old soccer playing women. That's what was in the Google ad under the profile of who they're going after. And I said, hey man, is there some kind of grandma soccer league? Is that like a big thing up there? And where you're at? And he just started cracking up laughing. He's like, what on earth are you talking about? And I said, look at the settings for your ads. It's going after 60-year-old women who have an interest in soccer. And he goes, I don't know where on earth that's coming from. So all this money is getting paid. And in this particular case, this website, all the language was saying, our services are for everybody, everyone. So guess what? If you see a bunch of super old people on the page or a bunch of little kids, and maybe you're in your 30s or 40s and you want a specialist in this area, you're not going to go to the guy that's serving everyone. It's just not how it works. You want that specialist, right? And I had a conversation with a photographer about this the other day, and he's saying, well, yeah, everyone. I want to be able to serve everyone. I said, well, what types of jobs do you like getting the most, and what jobs pay the most? And so he starts giving some details about that. And I go, well, why don't you go after those people specifically? And he just kind of looked at me cross-eyed for a minute, like, oh yeah, that sounds really obvious. So how do we fix this? Sometimes this, like I said, this is kind of where it began, but the problem actually begins here. There was no strategy at all. And yes, you may think you had a strategy, but no. If you didn't identify a target audience, if you didn't have an actual conversation with these people and do your research and put a plan together and decide how your business is going to communicate with them, how it's going to create that value proposition for a specific audience. If you did not do any of that, then this is likely a huge reason why your sales aren't looking like what you anticipated. So this is how we fix it. We go back and we take a look at the business and we ask a bunch of very targeted questions, right? We ask these targeted questions to understand the problem that the business is actually solving. And we try to identify a prototype of who that ideal target audience is. And yes, we put a target on them, and then we go out and we interview them. We actually talk to these people and have a conversation back and forth. We get into their heads, we get into their minds, and we understand what makes them tick, what they want, what they're looking for, what triggers them to act, all these different things. And once we've done this, it's built into this brand architecture that we have. That's this kind of circle around the B there, our brand architecture. And from that architecture, once we have it, and it covers all different kinds of things. It covers all different kinds of things. Our personality, we apply the same personality you put into a human being, we put it into your business. That way people can connect and relate to it easier. So the business has a personality. And then we have our voice, our tone, value proposition, mission, vision statement, all these important things, our values, differentiation, competitive analysis, all these different things go in. And from that, we are able to take this plus the information from our target audience and build a visual identity, a powerful visual identity. And from that, then comes our logo. Then, because we have a stylescape, we know what the brand should look like, the vibe and everything, we can create that website that is targeted like a laser onto that audience. Our social media strategy, we come up with that. We give some guidance on how that comes about. And then when you go to create your ads, you know exactly who you're targeting. You know how much money they make, what their interests, their values are, all these different things. And everything becomes targeted like a laser at that audience. Now, those sales start to happen easily and more frequently, right? They're happy. They're like, wow, I found something I really love. And then the business is happy because, holy cow, we're making sales. Imagine that. We have a plan, we have a strategy, everything. We're putting power behind every dollar that we spend now. And this can be fixed for any business, big or small. Doesn't matter the size. Doesn't matter if you're a one-person show or you've got a whole team of hundreds of people. There are big corporations with thousands of employees. They all do this because they know that it works. It's not a luxury that only the big guys take advantage of. Anybody can take advantage of these strategies and scale their business and grow. So think about it. Let's say you're going fishing, right? And you got a hook and you're going to put some bait on the hook. And I say, okay, what are you trying to catch going to fishing? Well, I'm trying to catch everything. I'm trying to catch everything. Oh, so you're trying to catch an octopus, No, I don't really want to catch octopus. Well, you said you want to catch everything. Or you want to catch this little tiny fish over here, or maybe this slightly bigger tiny fish, or maybe a crab, right? What else do you want me to draw for you? I can actually draw really well. I just, for the sake of time, you're getting Pictionary style drawings. You're like, no, I want to catch these big old fish, right? These big guys. These are the ones I want to catch. Okay. Well, what do these big fish like to eat? Oh, well, these big fish like to eat this very specific type of bait. They absolutely love it. So why aren't you putting that bait on the hook? Why are you putting, a worm? Is the worm the favorite food of this fish? No. They like that. Well, why don't you put that on the hook? Oh. Huh. Well, if I put that on the hook, these little fish and the crab and the octopus, they don't like that. Well, would you rather have more of these big giant fish, one right after another, or do you still want a bunch of these guys down here? I mean, if you could have all big giant fish, wouldn't you want that? Wouldn't that be better than having a mix of all these other things? Well, yeah, absolutely. I love getting these big giant fish. So no, your customer cannot be everything and everybody, right? You got to have a specific target that you're going after. Otherwise, you're going to look like this. And some of you watching this, I know you're thinking, oh my gosh, that's me right now, right? You're going, my website stinks. But here's the deal. I don't want you to go and spend a ton of money on that website and get another one designed, because what if it is even worse off? What if it's way down here? If you don't have your brand architecture in place, this isn't going to improve right here. It's not. The larger your business grows, the more people you add to your business, the more touch points that you add as you go down. If there's not a strategy driving all of this, you're going to see more and more confusion. And yeah, you may hit the mark every now and then. You may get lucky and go, wow, we had an ad that hit. But I see people, they go good for a little while and then bam, they go off brand. They'll do things to damage their brand. It's true. I've had several conversations with clients about this recently, where the brand architecture that I constructed for them actually helped them from making really dumb decisions that would have taken them off brand, and kept everyone on the same page together. And that's what we want. We want everything to be running smooth. We got our business, all our touch points in alignment, happy target audience. And then this is just a cycle over and over again. You deliver value, right? You deliver amazing value to your customers. They will reward you with profits. So this is how we use branding to fix these problems, to drive more sales, and to kind of grease the skids and make everything work so much better. All right, so hopefully that made sense. Sometimes I just like to sketch things out because I'm a visual person, but it is absolutely essential. And that's why I pivoted my entire business over to solving this specific problem. I started off just doing graphic design for the longest time, logo design, websites, all these different things. And yeah, I saw it go off the rails so many times. And it wasn't until I experienced a legit formalized branding process that it just woke me up to this whole new world that I had no idea was there. I always thought brands were logos and colors and all the visual stuff that you see. I typically associate with a brand. And the word brand is just thrown around by so many people. They're like, oh, my brand. Do you like my brand? My shirt has my brand on it. And yeah, I think when you think about what a brand is, you think of like a cattle brand, and there's a mark there to associate that cattle with a particular ranch or something. That's where the term comes from. But what has been discovered over the years is this idea that branding isn't just a mark, a logo, or some type of visual construct. The brand is actually something that exists inside the hearts, the minds, the guts of the audience. That's where the brand is. It's a collection of associations that people have about your offering, your business, anything related to you. And so branding is the process of influencing those associations that people have. And in order to do that, you have to have a strategy. You have to interview people. You have to talk to them. And there's a process, a methodology that goes into this. And it's very important that it's done correctly with precision. And when you are going off of principles that have been proven to work, the branding process actually just falls together into place. And it's really beautiful how it happens. And it's something that's easily repeatable for any type of business that comes in because the principles are correct. They're true. They work. They're based off archetypes and psychological thinking and patterns in people's behavior and all kinds of stuff. It's really amazing and exhilarating and a blast to be a part of and to leverage these powerful tools for your business so that the money you spend, the time you spend, the decisions you're making are all based on a proven strategy that is going to help you get to where you're wanting to go. Otherwise, again, you're not aiming at a target. It's just guesswork. And worst of all, you're just shifting that target constantly and trying different things and throwing stuff at the wall. And yeah, every now and then a blind squirrel finds a nut and it works out. But that's not a very wise thing to base your business off of. It's just crossing your fingers and hoping you're going to get there. Let's make better decisions. Let's make strategic decisions and start to make success a deliberate act. All right. Well, that's all I have for you today. So hopefully you got something out of that. Hey, if you're looking to improve anything with your branding, or you've got questions, or you want to see how this would work for you, you can go ahead and give me a shout at vector.com and we can have a conversation. Again, if you enjoyed this content, please like this video. I really appreciate it. And subscribe, because I'm only going to continue delivering more and more value in terms of branding, how it can help startups, and how it can make a difference in your business. So thanks for watching all the way to the end, and we'll see you next time on Brand or Die.